Welcome into Rogue Football. I'm your host, Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in today. 49ers 7-round mock draft for 2024. We're going to get into it. Look, this is a team that just made a run to the Super Bowl, fell to the Chiefs. Obviously, when you face Patrick Mahomes, it's not always going to go your way. You just fired Steve Wilks a couple days after that Super Bowl run, your defensive coordinator. Maybe you're looking to bring in a Brandon Staley, someone of that ilk. I don't know who it's going to be, but the show must go on, obviously, despite Steve Wilks coaching one of the top defenses in the league, having a really impressive showing overall, in my opinion, against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But the 49ers, looking at what they're going to do this offseason, cap space wise, they're in the red, $3 million. I think that you are in a Super Bowl window, obviously. You can restructure some of the deals for your big name guys, add some void years, do whatever you want to do to get into a position where maybe you can address the offensive line, defensive line a little bit in free agency. I think at the very least, you need to bring in another edge player. You have Chase Young, who is a free agent. You have several other names, obviously not Nick Bosa going anywhere, but several of your other edge defenders are set to be free agents. So I think you're going to need to make sure you bolster that group, but try to keep the gang together overall for the most part, and upgrade where you can in this 2024 offseason. I think your needs, as I just mentioned, offensive line, defensive line, maybe some skill position on offense for help down the road when you're going to have to replace some of these guys, some secondary players for down the road as well. But hey, 11 draft picks. Let's get after it. Take some swings, right? 31 overall. That's where the 49ers pick first. Again, if you enjoy the content here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I have them going offensive line. I think Graham Barton out of Duke, the tackle that has shined for them over the last several years. I don't project him to play tackle. I don't think he has the length to do it at the NFL level, but I think he can play anywhere on the interior. As a freshman, played center for them. I think he can play guard as well. To me, as an interior offensive lineman, he is perfect for the Shanahan system. He can get to anywhere he wants on the football field as an athlete from the guard or center position, and he makes his impact felt in the run game. Look, Shanahan team, it's going to be a run-first football team, and they're going to try to do a lot of different outside zone type of looks, toss, crack, different things to get their speed players out in space, attack space, right? I think Graham Barton can really help you do that. He is a bowling ball of butcher knives. He's a guy that once he gets to his landmark, you're going to feel it right as a defender. I think that Graham Barton would just be a perfect fit for them at 31 overall. Obviously, interior offensive line isn't necessarily the sexiest pick or the highest value position, but this is a team that I think if they improve their offensive line, it could go a long way towards them becoming even more difficult to get off the field on the offensive side of the ball. This is a guy who I think in pass protection is going to upgrade what you have. And again, as a run blocker, he can get out in space and really move and bring the hurt to defenders. So I think that he would be a fantastic addition at 63 overall. Interesting situation here. You'd like to upgrade your defensive front. Obviously, you do have Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, but all those guys, besides Nick Bosa, they're a little up there in age. You don't know how long they're going to be around, right? But I still think that at this spot, the way the board fell for me, Kiran Amegadjie, the Yale Bulldog, coming off the quad injury, I think this is a guy that would be perfect for the 49ers, similar to Graham Barton, not in the same style or mold of an offensive lineman as Graham Barton, but he played tackle. He also played guard at Yale early on. He's a freak show. He's got the size, the strength, the athleticism, incredible length. I mean, rare length at the position. He's reported to have over 36-inch arms. So Kiran Amegadjie, I think this is a guy that, honestly, you talk about some of these freak show project type players in this 2024 NFL draft, I would certainly have him ranked higher than a Patrick Paul, who has kind of a similar profile from a length and size-wise. I think I would have Kiran Amegadjie ahead of Tyler Guyton, who I know a lot of folks are going to have as a first rounder. The only reason Amegadjie doesn't have more buzz on him right now, in my opinion, obviously coming off the quad injury and coming from Yale. If he was able to go to that Senior Bowl and show out, I think that he would have a lot more buzz on him. I really do. This is a guy that is a great run blocker already. I think he has all the requisite tools and traits and a decent baseline heading into the NFL as a pass protector. I think if you pair him with Trent Williams or even play him at guard early on in his career, this is a guy that's going to really upgrade the overall talent level of your offensive line. Amegadjie, I think with both of these moves, you're upgrading the offensive front for Brock Purdy, who's not going anywhere, for Christian McCaffrey, who's not going anywhere. And I think that as much as Kyle Shanahan has been able to get out of some of these offensive linemen who aren't necessarily as talented or as good, you have got to fortify that offensive line again to become a more sustainable offense. They're already one of the best in the league on both sides of the ball. But I think that's somewhere you can really improve to try to help take this team to the next level, to try to help get this team past a Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, right? Then at 94 overall, we do switch sides of the ball. We go defensive lineman Rook Ororo out of Clemson, a potential stalwart for you who can move around the defensive front, has good length, strength, and athleticism, a very good run defender, came to football at a later age, I think as a junior in high school. He flashes a lot of potential as a pass rusher as well. So this is just a really steady defensive lineman who I think can come in here, learn from some of the guys that you currently have, and grow into a role where he can be a very high quality starter down the road for you and contribute early on, which is exactly what you need. At 98 overall, I've got them going safety / nickel, Tyke Smith. He is a dog. He's a Georgia Bulldog, but he's a dog on the field as well. He really is. He can play safety, too high, in the box, overhang, nickel. He's an incredibly versatile defender who can fly around the football field, very instinctive, makes plays on the ball consistently in that Georgia defense, and you saw him play well at the Senior Bowl as well. I think that Tyke Smith could come in and provide some depth maybe early on, and depending on how things go with Tashawn Gibson, who is up there in age, maybe you bring him in to compete for a starting job. At 124 overall, wide receiver Luke McCaffrey, you may have heard of his brother Christian, maybe the best player on the San Francisco 49ers right now, certainly up there. Luke McCaffrey is a quarterback turned wide receiver. He plays similar to his brother, incredibly tough. He has the grit. He does not quit out there. And he's a guy that, as a player who's only been at the receiver position for 2 years, I think shows a lot of nuance, a lot of the traits you want. He can run fast. He's 6'2". He's over 200 pounds. He catches everything that comes his way. I mean, way over 50% contested catch rate for him in college at Rice. And then you talk about the ability to hang on to passes when he is getting absolutely decked over the middle of the field. You see multiple touchdown catches from him on tape where he gets rocked by a safety, his helmet pops off, but that ball does not come out. He comes down with it. And again, I just think the athletic baseline is there, the will to succeed is there, and the traits are there as a wide receiver who I think early on day 3 can come in and contribute to your football team and eventually be someone who can be a high-level role player at the wide receiver position for you. And again, you're bringing in a McCaffrey. It's going to work out. I feel strongly about that. At 131 overall, tight end Theo Johnson out of Penn State. He's kind of a size, weight, speed, length freak show, and he's got good athleticism. Reportedly is going to run in the 4.5s. Very big tight end. I think that this is not a tremendous tight end class, so it's possible he comes off the board before this. But Theo Johnson is a guy that I think you can bring in, do a lot of different things with. The 49ers offense, it is so multiple. They get guys moving around different spots. I think Theo Johnson can thrive in that role down the road and really become a valuable piece to that offense. At 175 overall, this might be my favorite pick here. Running back Kamani Vidal out of Troy. Do not get me started on how much I'm a fan of this guy. He showed out at the Senior Bowl. I went back and watched his tape at Troy. 5'7", almost 220 pounds, incredibly explosive. Change of direction is almost unparalleled in this class. And you see the contact balance. You see the low center of gravity. He can run through tackles. He can make you miss in the hole. He can make you miss in space. He's got legitimate speed. And I think that he's going to be a star in the NFL. I think he's going to have a tremendous career. I've got a day 2 grade on this guy. He's going to end up going in probably late day 3 and be a diamond in the rough. The 49ers are good at finding those at the running back position. At 208, I have edge Braden McGregor out of Michigan. A pretty traitsy guy, has the length, has the size, physicality. I think he can find a role for you early on as a designated pass rusher, a guy that comes in and just contributes. And we know San Francisco knows how to develop edge rushers, knows how to get the most out of them. I think Braden McGregor could be another in that line. At 213, cornerback Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky didn't really pop in terms of his statistical output during his time at Kentucky, but looked really good at the Senior Bowl, sticky in man coverage. Then you pop on the tape and you see that. You see the ability to mirror movements. You see the athleticism, the fluid hips, the quick feet, the change of direction. I think Andrew Phillips could be a late round stud at the next level for a team that wants to run a lot of man coverage. At 214, wide receiver Cornelius Johnson out of Michigan, another Michigan man. He's ready-made to come in and block. I think could potentially play that Jawan Jennings role for you down the road. You know, Jennings is a restricted free agent. I do think the 49ers can potentially bring him back this year. But in the long run, you're not going to want to pay him what he can eventually get on the free agent market, I think. And so Cornelius Johnson, I think, is a quality replacement option there. At 248, safety Kenny Logan out of Kansas. Some Tashawn Gibson to him, right? He has good range. I think he can play a lot of split zone coverage. I think he can fly around the football field. He's a willing tackler and a guy who can make plays in coverage. So maybe you get a late round guy that can come in and compete with Tyke Smith, with whoever you have at safety in 2024. Really like this class though. I mean, 11 draft picks. You're going to find a lot of guys that you have an affinity for in this class. And when you bring in 11 players, you don't have to hit on all of them, but I think that there's a good chance that you hit on more than half of these guys and you end up having a class that helps you continue this run of really great football, borderline dominance at times from the San Francisco 49ers, and try to get you over the hump. Try to get you into a Super Bowl by really upgrading your offensive line and your defensive line, by adding some pieces that can potentially become starters, by adding pieces that will certainly help you out as role players. But yeah, if you're a 49ers fan, would love to know what you think. At which pivot points might you have gone in a different direction? Let me know in the comment section. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.